what a move from Brandon Stephen to attack in a spot that was clearly inflated.
The thing is, in super deep stack poker, Randy, you know, day one here, hundreds of blinds, effective. We do have the latitude, and we will, with higher frequency, see some of these larger bets. What we aren't going to see, however, here is Punat Punsri's holding. It's GG Poker mystery hand time. We're going to black out Punat's holding, which has chosen to flat the Chidwick 14K open.
I love mystery hand time.
Well, you know,
It's fun.
King 9 of diamonds for Corneth. He's deliberating, and he's going to hop in. Diamonds are not his best friend. Now Pardo can flick another 8K out there with Queen 6 of clubs to see what's what.
He's going to do so. 4 ways.
King Jack 5, top pair for Corneth, the best of what's around that we can see. Chance checks in a 4-way field. Pardo promptly does the same. Chidwick, the pre-flop aggressor.
With no diamond out there, Chidwick is unlikely to see bet this flop. Multi-way.
Yeah, it would seem very ambitious. And so he does knuckle. Now Punsri.
So he flatted the pre-flop opener. Checks around. And Corneth is loving that turn card.
Kings and nines just to solve any potential kicker issues that he may have been facing.
And Corneth is going to check it. Trappy.
Chidwick taking his time before checking along with Corneth and Pardo. And now 62,000 out there that looks like it's unclaimed. Unclear what Punsri's got, but obviously what we know he has is an opportunity, potentially, before him.
I'll say this, Punsri probably doesn't think his opponents have a king too often given the flop and turn check through.
$44K the bet out of Punat. Pardo and Chidwick are going to be in the bin regardless of how Corneth approaches things. I would imagine. I mean, Pardo does have a gut shot, but I don't think he's going to be hunting a 10 for 44 dimes.
So if Corneth is behind, it's likely Queen 10 or pocket 9s because King Jack or a set of 5s would have bet the flop, I'd imagine, when check 2.
Yeah, even pocket kings, pocket jacks would find reasons in a 4-way pot to fire at this board. Corneth does flat. Hearts arrive. Not his favorite river.
No, not his favorite, but maybe it's a bit better than seeing like a queen or 10 show up, which brings out straights. Punsri could have some flush draws that got there, though. What's interesting, though, is that Corneth is opting to lead 38K into 150,000.
Now he wants to set the price, I guess, into this 150, like you said, versus potentially face a bigger barrel from Punsri's value range.
I don't think he's worried about like non-flush hands in terms of value betting.
No,
like,
you're right. It's the flush in particular, because he has kings and nines, and that's just going to be good against a majority of the value outside of the hearts. But what I meant to say is Punsri could dial up something really chunky on the end, and then we got to really ask ourselves as the polarity would be hearts or no hearts. But as played, Randy, you were looking at this. Punsri flatted on the button pre. He checked back in a four-way pot on the flop, then barreled 44 on the turn. Do we think he has hearts all that often?
That's a good question. I'm not exactly convinced. He did raise.
Look at this. Oh, my goodness. 276,000 out of Punsri, and we immediately sense discomfort with King 9.
So he's repping a flush. I don't think he's raising this sizing with like a set of nines or, you know, somehow magically has like King Jack or King 9 himself. And he laid it down in Punsri.
What did he have?
Tens.
Just 2 tens. My goodness. Punat turning it into a bluff, recognizing the value of a couple of tens in terms of representing Queen 10 specifically, which would very much be a credible hand.
Mostly size up, right? But he can have other 9x hands that want to bet small, 10-9, 6-9, pocket nines, all like kind of like playing the way that he just played it. So, and you know, he could always mix in like a small bet there with like 8-9 or 7-9, for example. I don't know. I mean, I'll say this: the hand really is kind of a sick hand by Adamo. His turn and river calls are pretty sticky.
That's just his read on population tendencies, bro. He's just like, yeah, you have so much Queen 5 and like Jack 7 nonsense that defends with like a gut shot that I just call with King Queen.
Yeah.
It's pretty gangster. We got a mystery hand with our man Juso. Koskela squaring off against his fellow countryman Ossi Kertula and 𝐸𝐵𝐾𝐨𝐽𝐿, who's also in the mix. Flops top pair. Ossi with the nut flush draw. Hold on now, chat. We might have a big pot brewing. Especially if that's an NFT t-shirt, which I believe it is, if I'm not mistaken.
All the signs are pointing to big pot.
It's like,
Okay.
let's go. See how Ossi wants to play his nut flush draw. Some merit to raising.
Of course, you put a lot of pressure on 𝐸𝐵𝐾 here, who can easily have 3x and 4x's that are going to fold to a check raise, and might even end up folding this bad 9. Let's see. Nope. He just calls.
There is the call from 𝐸𝐵𝐾, so as predicted, 3 ways to the 8 of clubs turn, which now gives Ossi nut second pair. Guess everything hanging in the balance to see if Juso fires a second bullet. Or barrel, I should say. 136 out there.
Yeah, pretty good card for Katola. And some of the benefit to just calling there is he does let 𝐸𝐵𝐾 come in, who has a bunch of suited hands with weaker draws. Wow, and this is a big bet. One that Katola is going to feel pretty comfortable continuing verse. They're deep. He's got a pair and the nut flush draw. I don't think there's really anywhere to go at this point. I kind of feel like fold isn't an option. And that puts Orpin, who has the best hand that we can see, in a pretty tough spot. I expect him to fold versus a call. It's a pretty tough spot to overcall here with a 9 and a bad kicker. No draw.
Well, there is the call from Aussie. 346,000 in the middle. Orpin gets out the way. Big river card incoming.
Yeah.
Brick City for Aussie's hearts, but could still have the best hand.
Yeah, thank you.
Trying to think of the overpairs that would continue firing here. I mean, jacks, obviously. Tens, perhaps. Check back.
Tens is probably dicey, but queens plus, I think, can all value bet. Tens, you do have to be worried about, like, this is an offsuit jack, so like jack X of hearts or clubs, right? So, you know, plus there are times when you have the best hand, you just don't get called.
Opened pre-flop. C-bet flop 1/3 into 2 players. Bet 75% on the turn. Follows through on the river, and he's just got the queen 5 of clubs, Brian. Wow. Up to 87 runners.
Quan Pardo? Where is Andy, by the way?
Why is Andy not here?
You don't know about Quan Pardo? Sam Greenwood has this thing where when Quan Zhu and Juan Pardo are right next to each other in the chip counts, he screenshots it and says there's a Quan Pardo.
He's such a fucking dork.
Well, meanwhile, he'll be on the turn in like 150K tournament.
Heath, one of the tournament chip leaders on the pro side of the bracket.
What do you mean?
Where is he?
Oh. I don't know. Maybe he doesn't feel like playing. It's also just far for some.
Leader, right?
Yeah, he's got a lot.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, for like say this trip actually, like, if you're not playing this,
We got the mystery hand.
it might not be worth traveling for like 12 hours or something.
Bro, I travel for like, yeah, obviously I'm playing this, but even my shot was like 26 hours.
Seth. Razor got flatted in position by
Because like,
Ben.
you know, there's 100K.
You can see Ben
Sure.
has
And I think the
30?
26
a weak suited ace, so
I think it won't be that amazing.
I think it just gets
fire
so
many bullets in
it just gets so reggy, right? Like obviously
feels
it's
like
good.
this is going to be an interesting pot. 3 streets of betting.
Let's see if the
It's
chat's
possible I'm making the
prediction
same amount of money
is
in, like,
right
a win
about the
pancake
mystery hand always being a bluff.
for half the buy-in.
But the one thing I would say is the online flights are extremely strong because of the outrageous stuff and everything.
Really? That's good.
And like a lot of recreationals must have made it through just because.
You made it through on that one? Oh, really?
I probably should have fired more bullets. I fired like 3 bullets.
How much you spend?
And I think if you're Seth,
Yeah.
3 bullets.
and I'm trying to
75K?
come up with a good, just barrel it off hand right here, I'm probably
They were
finding a
s-
hand
they were
like
soft.
jacks or 10 jack.
They were soft, but the thing is
Why? They're blocking key cards,
stuff because like some of the
such as
Sundays
king
they
jack
were
and ace
getting out
10,
of control, and I
or even 10s potentially, and
GG, I don't really want to have that much.
and not even beating a queen.
Like some of my Sundays
But-
were like 220, 230,
The bet line is gone.
220,000, 230,000.
What?
What about the bet check raise
That's
bet line?
On short notice, I had to, and I was playing other tables, and it was
I
becoming
mean, at SPR
maybe
7.
I'll be
Oh
here
wow,
anyway.
check
Yeah.
check.
You're saying you don't want to keep more than like 250 on there or something? Yeah. That was
clubs.
that's what was fucked up about
Oh, the
playing
check,
cash there.
check,
Yeah.
check, turn, check,
That I can only
raise,
manage.
river
It
line.
had to-
Oof.
I have, yeah, like one of my friends keeps like 1.6 there. I've told him like why, even if the chances.
What I used to do.
I mean, the
is
hands that I said
Bryn was my agent.
work really well for that
and
as
every
bluffs,
day
because you want
out
to,
and back
you would
in.
be
Yeah.
checking
So
here
I
with a
never
hand
had
with some
anything,
showdown, but then
and
deciding
keep
that
enough
it's
to
not
get
good
the
enough
seat.
and
Yeah.
turning just
Yeah.
two
200.
Yeah, and
weak
then
hands
get
with
them
good
top me
blockers
up
into
or
a
whatever.
bluff versus a bet.
But you know, probably can't do that anymore. I don't know.
I'd say value would pretty much be anything from
He was
like
sick,
ace
though. He was
jack
so
or better
reliable, like I would
that you
I would-
decided to play this way.
lose an all-in on the river and have no chips, and it would be tanking like 16 seconds. I would have zero.
Even
He
potentially
would just
doing it
no,
with like
150,
ace
like, money
nine
would
to
appear.
fold out
Like, he was
chops,
always on. He was sick. He was like a lot of people complain about him. For me,
but
I had the best
Yeah,
experience.
experience.
Yeah,
Yeah, I've
But,
heard
you know,
that
if you-
about.
maybe not though. That's like a little
But if you have
crazy.
I hope because the thing he obviously gives them back all the time, but let's say something happens.
If you're Ben here, how much do you want to puke when you get check raised?
I was literally just thinking that. It's gone c-bet flop, check,
But
check
it makes
turn,
sense if you're getting raised
check,
back from guys playing those
B, what,
Yeah.
you would
65, and then raise would be diabolical.
He made a killing, right? Everyone was doing it.
It's like you feel really good about your hand and value betting it. Now you just got check raised and you're bluff catching. With
Oh
a pretty good
my
blocker.
word, there it is.
Yeah.
Seth Davies with the check raise to 650, right on cue. Brian was saying the bluffs come from what, like jacks, jack 10,
King 10.
king 10.
Yeah. I would, and the value, I think at this size, we're talking.
10s plus?
I think you could do it with ace king. But yeah, I mean, once you start getting into full houses, certainly.
Oh, that is pain on the face of Ben Heath.
All right, I'm gonna say he's either got 10s or jack 10. I'm gonna go with that. I gotta think about which one here.
10s or jack 10? Do you want to...
I'm gonna go with. I mean, I'm gonna go with the chat. He's bluffing.
Okay.
With my 10 king 10 jack 10 thing, but
So how about this? How about
Yeah.
I take 2 value hands, you take 2 bluffs, and then if either of us is right, we have 100 and we get that tab rolling.
okay.
So what 2 bluffs do you want?
Yeah, king 10 jack 10.
Okay, and I'll take 10s and ace king, and then if it's any other hand, it's a push, right?
Okay.
So you've got king 10 jack 10. I've got 10s and ace king. Sick. I think it's like more likely 10s if it's value.
Yeah, I like 10s a lot. As
More,
I mean,
yeah.
that was the value hand that I picked.
They're not that deep. So I can just
Okay, we're booked for 100, yeah?
Just because it's like the most likely hand that gets there this way.
Heath makes
No,
the
you're in a
fold.
jam top set.
It's got the queens. The mamacitas. Forgot about that one. Flop the full house.
Button is good.